This past week, the Republican Party changed officially their platform's position on abortion. Should Christians be agreeing with them? Or should Christians be pushing back? Should Christians be just throwing up their hands and saying, I don't know what to do? We'll talk about it right after this. Well, welcome back to another week of Explain, where we engage the culture from a biblical perspective in a manner which glorifies God. And I am glad to be back here with you this week. And before any of you ask, I know you're going to, I only say this because I get comments on some of the other things that I wear sometimes. You might see my Tennessee hat. And before you guys even ask, no, I am not from Tennessee. I did not go to this school. I can't remember what the school is. Honestly, I was on vacation in Tennessee one time, and I saw this hat, and the hat has a T on it, and my name is Troy, so I got the hat. There you go. I'm not a very sophisticated person. So there you go. I hope you guys have had a good week. It has been quite a troubling week if you're tuned into the things that are going on politically. Between the constant, I guess I don't want to call it revelations because we already knew this, but the constant exposure now of the sitting president Joe Biden and his cognitive decline. We've seen a lot. A lot has been uncovered, I guess, or exposed regarding that. I think whoever was shielding him from all the questions that people had before about whether or not he was mentally fit, whoever was shielding him has stopped shielding him, or either that or they stopped doing a good job at it because there's just stuff circulating all over the place. I mean, and if you didn't, people have said it, and I agree, like if you didn't know, or if you didn't recognize that he was already having a hard time cognitively before that debate a few weeks ago, then man, I don't know where you've been living. Either you don't know, either you haven't been paying attention, which fine, or you're just not honestly evaluating what's going on. There's that, but also, I would say even more troubling, not to dampen the mood, but this episode is going to be a very difficult one for me to get through without getting upset, because I am very disappointed. I am extremely disappointed with the Republican Party's waffling and compromise on the issue of abortion. Now, this is one thing that I honestly wish that I on this channel had talked about more. It comes up from time to time. We did an episode a long time ago about the Satanic Temple opening up like this opportunity for people to do abortion rituals. We did talk about abortion at that point, but this is the Bible talks about the men of Issachar, the men who knew the times, right? And one of the main things that just is more and more every day I'm seeing is coming to the forefront as something that those of us who know the times, those of you who know the times need to be up to speed on, is the issue of abortion. And so I'll take it from the beginning. I think this was about a couple months ago when Donald Trump, who is the former president of the United States and the Republican Party nominee for this upcoming election, all of a sudden started to say some very not pro-life things. Donald Trump had prided himself as being a pro-life candidate when he ran the other two times, and also even as president prided himself as being pro-life, even nominating Supreme Court justices who promised to vote in that direction. His big thing was, we're going to get Roe v. Wade overturned. And you know what? Props to him. He got it done. He got it done. And I'm extremely thankful. It's okay to be disappointed. Let's just say that it's okay to be disappointed with the stuff that Trump has said now, and still be extremely grateful to God for what happened. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, and also just to be glad and appreciative of Trump for keeping those promises that he made during his campaign. It's okay to be complex in our thinking. We don't have to be simple and say this person bad, right? And just he's completely bad because of this one thing that he said. Okay, let that be said. We're going to talk a lot more, because honestly, that's even a hard thing for me to say now, because I'm extremely disappointed in him. But so that was a couple of months ago. He started to say some very not pro-life things. Basically, one thing that happened was Arizona basically confirmed some old legislation of theirs, and kind of brought it back up to the surface and said, no, this is still active. This is still something that's important. And if you have if you're looking for any more information on that, I would refer you over to the guys at Apologia Studios, Jeff Durbin, Zach Conover, even James White, who is a pastor at their church. They're all very knowledgeable on that subject and how it specifically relates to Arizona state politics, because they're based in Arizona. But suffice it to say, that happened, and Trump kind of had a really negative type of reaction to that as well. And then so you fast forward to now this past week, where some high-ranking Republicans, namely J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, have also waffled on abortion. And their whole thing is basically, now the party should have the same views as the guy who's the nominee of the party, right? That was Rubio's big thing that he said. And so now they're waffling on something that they used to be. Let's just say they used to be stronger on it than they are. I'm not going to say that their viewpoint was perfect or anything, but they're much. They used to be much stronger on their position, their position as pro-lifers, than they are now. But anyway, so you have that going on this week. Extremely disappointing. I mean, I even and it's right out there in the open. Like, it's not like they're hiding this. I think they want to make this known. They want to make it known that they're not like the big, bad, mean guys that want to get rid of all abortion, that want to end all abortion. They want to get it out in the open that that's not what they are, because they're afraid that they're going to lose votes. And that's just the reality of it. That is just the reality of it. And it is very disappointing, because one thing that they're doing, perhaps unknowingly, I don't think it's unknowingly, though. They're alienating a large part of their voter bloc, who are just Christians like you and me, who don't want to see any abortion. We don't want it. We don't want any of it, right? Like, we want abortion to be ended completely now. This country has so much blood on its hands from the countless children that have been murdered. Okay, and we want to see an end to that. We want to see that end, and I think that the Republican Party has alienated that block of voters, and so that's what went on. That's what happened. And they're trying to reach maybe people that haven't voted for them in the past, and you know what? I say that I think it wasn't a mistake, or it wasn't like an oversight by them to alienate this block of voters, because you know what I think? I think this was a calculated decision. I think that the Republican Party still thinks that that this block of voters is going to vote for them. And that's why, I see the logic that a lot of people have. I'm not going to come down hard on these guys. I'm not going to beat up on them. There are guys who are really solid, conservative, strong, solid Christians who are saying, you know what? We need to show the Republican Party that we're not just going to move with them in whatever direction that they move, that our allegiance is to Christ and to his law first. I can see that argument. I understand that. I can sympathize with that. I'm going to get into why I actually don't hold that position a little bit later. But I can sympathize with that position. That's where the logic comes from, is that the Republican Party has made this calculation, and a lot of Christians want to show them that that's not the right calculation to make. So really, just to kind of sum up so far, you've got Trump waffles on abortion. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio then waffle on abortion. There are other Republicans as well who have done the same thing. It's very, very frustrating and annoying to see this happen right before such a huge election. Really disheartens a lot of Christians. I'm very disappointed, very, very disappointed. So you have that, and of course now the Republican Party's official platform is softened on abortion. It's officially softened on abortion. And so now we have to parse this out, right? As Christians, we're left reeling from this, right? And we have to figure out, what do we do? What do we do? Do we still, obviously the elephant in the room is, do we vote for Trump still, right? Like that's the thing that a lot of people want to know. I'll get to that. But really, what one thing that I want to make sure that I point out is there are, on the question of Trump, there seem to be a couple of different groups of people who are saying, no, don't vote for Trump. Okay. There is the group, and this is how I tried to parse it out. There's one group of people, and let me say this. They're saying that they're not going to vote for Trump because of the issue of abortion. Okay. So that's the reason why. It's not because they hate his guts. It's not because they're like LGBTQ or something and they want Biden instead. It's not any of that. We're talking about people that are claiming, and that's a big word, claiming that they're not going to vote for Trump because of the single issue of abortion. Single issue voters, you might call them, and their single issue is abortion. There are two groups, okay? Here's the first group of single-issue voters that are saying that they're not going to vote for Trump. It's the people who hate Trump more than they hate abortion, okay? Catch that. The people who hate Trump more than they hate abortion. Okay, these are the people who didn't vote for Trump back in 2016 and back in 2020, and now they're not going to vote for him again because they just claim that they hate abortion so much. And I saw some guy, I don't know who he was, but I saw some guy online the other day saying, "I told you guys so. I told you so. I told you way back in 2015 that Trump was that Trump was not truly pro-life. He wasn't pro-life." And then you have people like this that they say, "I'm not voting for Trump because he's not truly pro-life." Okay, granted. But then you look at who they did vote for, and they voted for Hillary Clinton, and they voted for Joe Biden. And so, you know what? It's not, these people are not serious about their commitment to abolishing abortion, to getting rid of abortion, because they voted for all these crazy candidates that hated, that hated little children, and that stood for abortion even more than Trump did. Okay, you didn't have Hillary Clinton running on the promise to abolish Roe v. Wade. She never would have done that. You didn't have Joe Biden running on the promise to abolish Roe v. Wade. As a matter of fact, you had Biden running in 2020 on a starkly opposing viewpoint, right? Pro-abortion, pro-choice. That's the first group of people, okay? So the people who hate Trump more than they hate abortion. Got it? Okay. Then there's the second group of people. I talked about these people a few minutes ago, and they are, I would say, this is the group of people who hate abortion more than they hate Trump. And I would say as an add-on to that, they don't actually hate Trump at all. They love Trump just like they love every other human being, okay? But guess what? They love life a lot more than they love Trump. I think that would be a better way to put it. Okay, so you have the people who hate, they hate Trump more than they hate abortion, and then there's the people who love life more than they love Trump, and because of that, they're not going to vote for Trump. Okay, there are several people who I would put in that camp. And again, like I'm not going to go very hard on them because I can understand why a lot of people would come to that conclusion. Okay, so those are the groups of people. I have no respect for the first group of people because they're not consistent. Okay, they just want to look for a reason to hate Trump. And this new thing with abortion just gave them fuel to stand behind some mask that they don't even really belong to of being pro-life. And say that they hate and say that they're not going to vote for Trump because they're pro-life. When in reality, I mean, come on, man. We all know that you're a liberal. We all know. Okay. Then there is this other group, right? The other group who loves life more than they love Trump. Okay. And because of that, they can't bring themselves to vote for Trump because they don't think that Trump is pro-life enough. And they believe that his recent statements in particular are just not pro-life. I agree. They're not pro-life. And honestly, like I said, like I'm disappointed by everyone. I am disappointed by literally everyone. I'm disappointed by the people who told me for years and years and years that they were pro-life. A lot of them are major politicians like Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and Vance, who said for years and years and years that they're pro-life. And now all of a sudden Roe v. Wade gets overturned and they have the opportunity to actually get something done. And you know what they do instead? They completely waffle on it. They completely just drop the ball. They fumble the ball at the 5-yard line. Man, they had it. They were close, and then they fumbled the ball. Okay, and so I'm very disappointed in those people who told me, these politicians who told me and they told you that they were pro-life. But really, it was just an easy thing to do. It was an easy thing to say. Now, when their feet are being held to the fire, when they have an opportunity to actually do something about it, they're not doing anything. That's very disappointing, and I am very disappointed in all of those people. Okay. There is also another group of people who I'm disappointed in as well. Not to the same extent, but there are people out there who are not just saying, I'm personally not good. Like there are people out there who are not just personally holding the opinion of I'm not voting for Trump, for example, because he's not pro-life anymore. There are people who are instead taking the opportunity now, or I wouldn't even say taking the opportunity. I got to be careful with how I say this, but they're now in this moment where Trump is slipping on this pro-life stuff. They're now guilting people. Okay, they're placing burdens on the consciences of Christians, guilting Christians into feeling like they'd actually be sinning, they'd actually be wrong, they'd actually be angering God and displeasing to God if they voted for Donald Trump. Okay, and I want to be very clear that this is not a time as Christians to guilt each other into voting for Trump or not voting for Trump. Okay. This is not the type of issue that you can tell someone that you are sinning if you do a certain thing. Okay. Like one example of this would be, and I love these brothers and I love a lot of the content that they put out, but this group, Abolitionists Rising, great group. Like I watch their street preaching stuff all the time, and they're just wonderful. They're abolitionists, and honestly, I call myself an abolitionist too. But right after Trump's first real slip on the pro-life, pro-choice stuff, one of the guys over there came out with this big. He really was really angry. He was really angry at Christians for giving, I think he put it like giving Trump the opportunity and the platform to do this, to make this decision, to soften on the issue of abortion. And he was really, he was really binding the consciences of Christians that they could not vote for Trump in this upcoming election. And I don't think that's the right thing to do. So again, like while I can disagree with people on that, but I still love those brothers, and I'm still behind their cause 100%. Abolition of abortion, complete ending of abortion. I agree 100%. We got to get that done. Okay, the question becomes, how do we do it? How do we do it? And this is where I would disagree with people who say, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump because of this issue. But here's where I would push back on that. Okay, it's not like Trump is going into the abortion clinics and doing the abortions. Okay, that's not happening. That's not happening. We're talking about the views of a candidate. Okay, and my question would be, and I think Tom Askell put this really, really well. I would encourage you to watch his most recent episode on it was basically on the issue of abortion and on should a Christian vote for Trump? Can a Christian vote for Trump? Do they have that liberty? It was an excellent episode, and I forget if it was him or his co-host Graham Gundin that said the reality of the situation is one of two candidates is going to get in. One of two candidates is going to be elected. It's going to be Trump or it's going to be Biden, or at this rate, maybe whoever they put in to replace Biden, if they do replace him. But it's going to be one of those. It's going to be either Trump or someone who's even worse on abortion than Trump. Okay. So the question becomes, and now this is me talking, right? So that was excellent input and advice by Tom Askell and Graham Gundin and those guys. The question then becomes, for me personally, which candidate is going to give me, an abolitionist, and even guys like Abolitionist Rising or any other abolitionist, or even the better pro-life groups. There's not many of them out there, but the better ones. They call themselves the smash mouth incrementalists, right? So like those people, which candidate gives us a better opportunity to do what we're going to be doing without having our freedoms infringed upon? Okay, that's the way that I look at it. And obviously the answer is Trump. Okay, Trump is not going to do what Biden's been doing and go after, protesters at abortion clinics and put them in and throw them into jail. Okay, Trump is not going to do that. So then the question becomes, okay, if he's going to give me a better chance to do what I have been doing, and trying to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, right? The unborn. If he's going to give me a better opportunity, a better chance to do that, and to do that freely and openly and publicly, okay, and not go to jail for doing it while I'm doing it, right? And not because me or anybody else is afraid of going to jail, right? But specifically and only strictly because we want to be out there more, right? We want to be able to continue to do it without someone saying, nope, you're done. We're not going to let you talk anymore, right? So who's going to give us the better opportunity to do that? Is it Trump or is it whoever comes out of the Democrat Party? Who is it? Well, it's obviously Trump. Okay. And it's not like here's the thing, and this is where I think we have to realize the time that we're in. And we have to realize the political context that we're in. We have to realize the reality of the situation, like Tom Askell put it. One of two people is going to get in. Okay, and it's not like Trump, just like Trump's not going to go do an abortion. Trump is not going to be the one that stands out on the street corner and says, don't kill your child. Don't kill your child. You're committing murder. He's not going to do that. He's not going to protest abortion either. Okay. And if he ever does and he gets converted and does that, then praise God. Okay. You proved me wrong. And Biden is not going to do that either. Okay. So this is not an issue of like, we're not voting for town doctor here. Okay, we're not voting for whether, someone that's going to be intimately involved with whether or not people actually commit murder against their children. Okay, we're voting for president. Okay, and while I would love to have an abolitionist candidate, I would love to have someone who is just completely given over to the cause of getting rid of abortion completely, right? I would love to have that. That's not what we have this year. Okay, and so that's why, like I'm saying, this year, the question is, who is going to give us freedom? Who is going to give us more freedom to continue doing what we're doing? And I can guarantee you it ain't Joe Biden, and it's not anybody who the Democrat Party is going to put forward. Okay, and here's the thing. We need to continue doing what we're doing. Okay. That's why a lot of people have put a lot of emphasis over the past couple of days, and I completely agree, on the ground game. Okay. Basically, and I think this also came from Tom Askell's podcast with Graham Gundon. I think it was Graham Gundon that said, look, your local elections are even more important than your national elections, right? Like we need to get involved in our local politics and the things that are going on locally for us. That's why, like, the ground game, right? The game on the ground is so important. Our specific contexts that we're in, that's so important, because that's where something bigger starts. Even you think about the gospel, the preaching of the gospel, right? The preaching of the gospel, evangelism. Like a lot of people these days, for some reason, in the Christian church, rag on evangelism, and they're like, well, you need to be able to think politically, and you need to be able to, to separate out these two things. Well, I don't know if I agree with that, because the Bible says that the gospel is the power of God unto salvation. Okay, and so better than beating down on our enemies is actually if they got converted. Right, that would be even better. That would be what we want, and that, as Christians, is what we should be after. Okay, is that our enemies be defeated, but defeated not in the way that they get, killed and thrown into hell. No, we want our enemies to be subdued. We want our enemies to be subdued. We want them to bow the knee to Christ. That's what we want. That'd be the ultimate victory. Okay, and so that is important. While we fight for what God wants us to do, and we continue doing what we're doing. We do what pleases God, and we know God is not pleased with murder. This is why I love Apologia Studios and what they do. And I know I referenced them earlier, but they go out in front of abortion clinics, and not only do they try to stop people from murdering their children, which is that's the pressing matter at hand, right? Like that's the physical pressing matter at hand. But they also appeal to people to repent and to run to Christ. And you see people get saved under that ministry, and that is amazing. And that's what I believe that all of us should be doing, is standing strong, speaking up for those who can't speak. Okay, like Proverbs 31 says. And look, I know a lot of people are going to have plenty of different opinions on whether or not they should vote for Trump. But as Christians, we should all be united on this. We want abortion to end. We want it to go away, and we will do anything we can to end it. All right? Have a great week. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves, and I hope this podcast was a blessing to you. We'll see you next time.